Hello, I recently spoke to Ben Shapiro on my Luminary podcast, Under the Skin, which is available on Luminary, the app, and on Apple. If you want to get the rest of this conversation, go over to Luminary or Apple and subscribe to Luminary, where all my episodes of Under the Skin, as well as Dave Chappelle's podcast and countless other brilliant subscription model podcasts, are available to you. In this conversation, Ben Shapiro and I talked about a wide range of cultural issues, and people that are interested in hearing conversations with people with differing views, I think will enjoy this conversation. I also went on to Ben's show to continue this conversation. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. If you want to listen to the rest of it, remember, over to Luminary or Apple to subscribe. The link is in the description. Ben, thank you for joining me on Under the Skin.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I'm excited to talk to you.
Well, I appreciate that. Back at you.
This is, I suppose, a peculiar time for us to be having a conversation, sort of culturally, geopolitically. You've probably got I watch a lot of your content, as I said just in our brief chat before, and I'm sure you, even if you don't watch my content, and I would never assume, I imagine you sort of know who I am. So how do you generally approach conversations with people where there is an assumption that we're on across some real or imagined cultural line? Does it make any particular difference to you?
Only in the sense that I like to actually, read about or at least watch some of your stuff so that I know kind of how you approach interviews, because some people have a different approach, and I've had experiences in the past that have gone quite viral in which I had no idea what the interview was going to be, and then it goes sideways. And so you always want to know kind of what you're walking into. But aside from that, no, I don't care at all. I speak with people who disagree with me on a regular basis, and frankly, I kind of find it more fun. It's more interesting.
I suppose you're referring with the misstep with Andrew Neil. One of the things that I admire about you is your deftness and ability to handle confrontational conversations. Piers Morgan, another Englishman that I've seen you with. But it's amusing for English people to watch you with Andrew Neil, because we're all thinking this dude is conservative. He's the editor of the Sunday Times.
I'll be honest, dude. I had no clue who he was, which is clearly obvious. And as I said, even before the interview came out, I was tweeting about how he kicked my ass, and that was because he did. I mean, I had no idea who he was. The interview was booked, and it was booked by my publisher. And they were like, "Yeah, some guy on the BBC." I'm like, "Okay, I don't really watch the BBC. I'm America." And then he started questioning me, and I didn't know anything about his interview style, which of course is very aggressive, and he likes to play devil's advocate. And so about 15 minutes into the interview, when he was just kind of reading my old tweets at me, and I was like, I'm out. I still had no idea who he was. Then I looked him up, and I was like,
oh, yeah, I probably should have researched who he was. My mistake.
Yeah. You'd probably get on all right with him. I've never met Andrew Neil, but he's a serious broadcaster. One of the areas where I reckon you and I perhaps have a lot in common, obviously, we've both got families. I feel your family's pretty young, and also you believe in God, and you're a pretty religious man, hey?
Yeah. So we're Orthodox Jews. My wife and I are both Orthodox. We raise our kids Orthodox. My family became Orthodox when I was maybe 11. We were always very interested in religious Judaism, but we became fully kosher, eating kosher food and not driving on Sabbath and such when I was about 11 years old. So I've been doing that since then, and I find great solace and comfort and virtue in my religion, and hopefully that comes out in how I raise my kids.
How do you find solace? And aside from the observances and protocols around Orthodox Judaism, how does it affect your outlook and interactions, particularly, I suppose, as a polemicist and a highly regarded and widely followed orator? How does it affect you there? I suppose the intersection between your religious faith and your political views and your
in terms of sort of how it works in my personal life, I mean, I would say that religion provides me the opportunity to constantly be stepping outside of whatever is sort of the daily news cycle. If religion is supposed to be eternal, than the idea that there is an eternity in which this is just one moment, and that you can step away for a moment from Twitter and the world won't end, and the world will continue to spin. And there are people before you who have known more than you. There are people who are after you who will know more than you, presumably. And there's a God above you who also knows a lot more than any of those people is definitely comforting. For a lot of Jews, and for me particularly, Sabbath is a big deal. Being able to physically turn off all electronic devices and not be connected at all to the news starting Friday night, ending Saturday night is a huge thing, because I'm sure, as virtually everybody feels now, if I'm at dinner with my kids on a weeknight, the temptation to reach into your pocket and just start scrolling the news or checking your emails is really high. Well, on Sabbath, everything shuts off. And so it's kind of a wonderful way to reconnect with family. It's a way to reconnect with religion. You go to synagogue for a couple of hours. You spend some time contemplating your place in the universe and contemplating what you think God requires of you. And it really kind of regrounds you. In terms of what I think Judaism provides to me in terms of values, I'm a big believer that much of Enlightenment philosophy is rooted in certain unspoken assumptions about the world, about the nature of truth, about the nature of the human mind to understand broader objective truths, and that those ideas spring from a Judeo-Christian worldview historically in the West.